The City of Neenah is pleased to provide video recordings of City Council meetings. Neenah residents can get information about City Council meetings, City Committee meetings, meeting agendas, and other documents from the City website, www.neenahgov.org. Neenah residents can express their opinions about city issues by contacting the mayor's office, contacting their city alderman, or completing the electronic feedback form on the city website. All public portions of the meetings are recorded in entirety and are not edited.
Good evening and welcome. I would like to call to order the City of Neenah Common Council meeting for Wednesday, February 19th, 2025. The first item on the agenda is the roll call. The clerk will call the roll. Please indicate your presence on your roll call device.
Alderman Boyette is excused. Alderman Erickson.
Here.
Hillstrom.
Here.
Lendrum.
Here.
Weber.
Here.
Paulnow.
Here.
Steiner.
Here.
Ellis.
Here.
And Borchert.
Here.
Thank you. I would like to ask Director Hayes to lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
There are no appointments this evening. So the next item on the agenda, is there any objection to unanimous consent of the council proceedings of February 5th? Any objection? Seeing none, the council minutes and proceedings of February 5th, 2025 are approved. The next item on the agenda is the public hearing. There are 2 items for the public hearing this evening. If you would like to speak regarding either of the public hearing items, I would ask that you would come forward to the microphone and state your name and street address. I will open the first public hearing, that is consideration of special assessments for benefits conferred upon property by constructing and installing improvements on Southfield Court, Bruce to Terminus, and Bruce Street, Castle Oak to Maple Grove. I would open that public hearing at this point. Is there anyone here who would like to speak during the public hearing on that item? Anyone who would like to speak on item A in the agenda? Is there anyone here who would like to speak on that item? Seeing no one, I will close that public hearing and move on to the second public hearing. That is consideration of special assessments for benefits conferred upon property by constructing and installing improvements on Caroline Street, Lake to Terminus, Douglas Street, Henry to Commercial Street, Elm Street, Division to Wisconsin Ave, and Hickory Lane, Cecil to Baldwin Street. I will open that public hearing at this point. If there's anyone here who would like to speak during the public hearing regarding this item, this is your opportunity to speak. Is there anyone here who would like to speak on this item? Is there anyone here who would like to speak on this public hearing item? Seeing no one, I will close the public hearing and move on to the next item on the agenda, the public forum. This is the opportunity for anyone from the public to come and speak on any item of concern or issue that they have. Again, I would ask if you want to speak to the council, please come forward and give your name and residential address. Is there anyone who would like to speak during the public forum? Anyone who would like to speak during the public forum? Anyone? Seeing no one, I will close the public forum. Moving on then to item 7, the consent agenda. Is there any objection to unanimous consent of approval of a temporary Class B picnic license application to St. Gabriel Parish at 900 Geiger Street for Friday Fish Fries to be held March 13, 21, 28 of 2025 and April 4 and 11 of 2025. Any objection to unanimous consent of that temporary Class B picnic license? Seeing no one, that temporary Class B picnic license is approved. Moving on to item 8 in the agenda, the regular Public Services and Safety Committee meeting of February 11th, 2025. Chairman Lindrum.
Thank you, Mayor. As you mentioned, I will be reporting out from the regular Public Services and Safety Committee meeting of February 11th, 2025, and the minutes can be found on the city website. Item number 1, committee recommends council approve the purchase of a new 2025 International Single Axle Chassis in the amount of $113,174.80 from Packer City International, Appleton, and the equipment package in the amount of $133,323 from Monroe Truck Company De Pere, and a new two-way radio for that vehicle and additional safety equipment for that vehicle not to exceed $1,000 with 2025 capital equipment funds, and I would so move.
There's a motion by Alderman Lundrum, seconded by Alderman Weber. Is there any discussion on this item? Any discussion? Seeing none, please cast your vote on your voting device. That motion passes 8-0.
Item number 2, I'm going to read it how it is in the agenda, and then after talking to our finance director, Rasmussen, I'm going to make it a little bit easier to understand and list the amounts. So it's just a little bit more clear. So I'll read it right now as is, and then I'll go back and fix it. Item number 2, committee recommends council approve the purchase of a 2025 International Tandem Axle Chassis for $126,539.25 from Packer City International, Appleton, and equipment package in the amount of $231,614 from Monroe Truck Company De Pere, and a new two-way radio for that vehicle and additional safety equipment not to exceed $1,000 with $315,000 from the 2025 capital equipment funds and $44,153.25 from the capital equipment fund balance. So I'm going to just quick spell it out. So the total amount requested is $359,153.30. The budgeted amount was $315,000 in the 2025 capital budget, and the additional the additional $44,153.25 will be funded out of the capital equipment fund balance, and I would so move.
There's a motion by Alderman Lundrum, seconded by Alderman Hillstrom. Is there any discussion on this item? Any discussion? Seeing none, please cast your vote on your voting device. That motion passes 8-0.
Item number 3, committee recommends council authorize the appropriate city officials to sign the intergovernmental cooperation agreement for the roundabout feasibility analysis at Nicolay Boulevard and Commercial Street, and I would so move.
There's a motion by Alderman Lundrum, seconded by Alderman Weber. Is there any discussion on this item? Alderman Palmo.
Thank you, Mayor. I'm in support of this. A couple questions I have procedurally, though. It says there's no dollar amount listed in this motion, and I didn't read a dollar amount listed. It's a 50-50 share agreement with City of Menasha, but there's no dollar amount listed in the agreement. Our budget says $15,000. Is City of Menasha, have they budgeted? I guess this would be Director Kaiser. Have they budgeted that amount? Because we're kind of in the driver's seat on this. Will there be any disconnect if, you know?
Yeah, Menasha has budgeted for this project on their side. Our discussions early on with them were that we would be the lead. So I don't know the dollar amount, but I don't think they budgeted more than like $8,000 for it.
Okay. Now, with that being said, should this motion
I think it makes sense, the motion, either the motion or the agreement include that we have $15,000, authorized from Neenah, I guess.
I think we're getting ahead of the game a little bit. When we get proposals in from consultants and we see what the dollar amount is, then that's when council will make a final call on if that's something to proceed with.
And then that would probably have to go back through both councils, I guess, for approval? Or do we have carte blanche, if, say it's $40,000?
The MOU has us making the call on the consultant with their input. So hypothetically, the low proposal we get is $40,000. We will certainly be having discussions with them to see if they want to proceed.
Okay, fair enough, thank you.
Is there any other discussion on this item? Seeing none, the motion on the floor is that council recommend authorization of the appropriate city officials to sign an intergovernmental cooperation agreement for the roundabout feasibility analysis at Nicolay Boulevard. Please cast your vote on your voting device.
Yes, might help if I voted.
That motion passes 8-0.
Item number 4, committee recommends council approve Alfred Benesh and Company provide professional services for the design of repairs to the North Commercial Street Bridge at an amount not to exceed $16,500, and I would so move.
There's a motion by Alderman Lundrum, seconded by Council President Borchert. Is there any discussion on this item? Any discussion? Seeing none, please cast your vote on your voting device. That motion passes 8-0.
And the 5th and last item, committee recommends council approve City Hall second floor VAV control upgrade proposal from Energy Control and Design, it's HVAC, in the amount of $76,914 using 2025 budgeted funds and funds from the deferral of the 2025 windowsill purchase, and I would so move.
There's a motion by Alderman Lundrum, seconded by Alderman Weber. Is there any discussion on this item? Any discussion? Seeing none, please cast your vote on your voting device. That motion passes 8-0.
And that's the end of my report.
Thank you for your report. The regular Finance and Personnel Committee meeting of February 10th was canceled. The Joint Fire Finance and Personnel Committee meeting is information only, so no report on that. Next, the regular Plan Commission meeting of February 11th was canceled, so there's no report to there. The Board of Public Works meeting of February 11th was information only item, so there is no report to there. The Business Improvement District Board meeting of February 18th. Alderman Ellis.
Thank you, Mayor. There's really nothing new to report from our last endeavor, but we should have things to report at the next get out.
Thank you. The next item is the Library Board meeting of February 19th. Alderman Erickson.
Thank you, Mayor. The Neenah Library Board of Trustees met today at 4 o'clock. And in the information packet that we received, they had the 2024 year in review. More good news from the library. The library programs had last year 38,176 attendees. There were a total of 240,855 library visits, and total checkouts were 604,646 total checkouts. And then they also mentioned that the Friends of Volunteer of the Year is George Schneider, and he has volunteered 347 and a half hours of his time working 9 to 11 a.m. Monday through Thursday every week. So congratulations to him. And that concludes my report.
That's great. Thank you so much for your report. There is no Arts Council meeting report as that was canceled. Is there a report from the Landmarks Commission, Alderman Weber?
Yes, there is. Thank you, Mayor. The Landmarks Commission met on February 12th. Minutes will be posted on the city website. Two items of note. We did have some discussion around the planning of a Doty Island History Walk by the Doty Island Community Partners. It's looking like that's going to be towards the end of June, so, and Landmarks might participate in that and help support, so more to come there, so keep that on your radar. And also, we spent the bulk of our time going through all the landmark designation properties and more information to get the updates ready for the new brochure. Our next meeting, we plan to finalize that and get that information to the designer to have the brochure designs completed and then come back to us for some review. And that concludes my report.
Thank you for your report. Next item, are there any petitions? Are there any council directives? Is there any unfinished business? Alderman Paulno.
Thank you, Mayor. I got a question in regard, I guess I would aim it at Director Hayes. I see that we have the data phase of the housing study seems to be completed. That information was sent out. And I was just wondering, what's the process moving forward? Will it go present that to the Plan Commission and then work on recommendations? Or will it be a combination thereof? Because I know, if I remember correctly, this was going to probably dovetail into the code review process. And some of these things might result in recommendations for code review. I was just wondering, what is the timeline in the process? We'll go Plan Commission and then maybe a presentation to council, or what's the game plan?
I believe it would go to, well, I know it will go to Plan Commission for their review and endorsement, most likely a presentation to council. That would include the recommendations. The implementation then would be the next phase, much like a comp plan or any other plan, right? That plan is the guide then to establish what the next steps would be, and those steps can take anywhere from, a few months to perhaps they never get changed, but that would be the next step after the plan is accepted. And I would expect plan here certainly within the next 30 days or so. I haven't checked with Brad to see where they are schedule-wise, but I know it's close.
Okay, thank you.
Any additional unfinished business? I have an item of, Alderman Erickson, sorry.
Thank you, Mayor. I have a question for Alderman Weber. I noticed that you have a Park and Rec meeting coming up, and I was just wondering when the Park and Rec Department is going to be reporting back on the Carpenter Preserve information to the council.
Yeah, there's nothing planned yet, but we do have a meeting tomorrow, so I can bring that up to the commission and talk to Director Kading. So,
Thank you.
You bet.
Any additional unfinished business? I have an item under new business, but is there anyone else who has an item under new business? All right, seeing no one with an item under new business, I would just like to draw attention to the fact that this is Director Hayes' last council meeting tonight, and just wanted to read what I wrote for the city newsletter. As I reflect back on the nearly 3 years I've been privileged to be in the office of mayor of our great city, I'm mindful of the fact that our community's success is only as strong as those who commit themselves daily to the shared goal of moving forward in a positive and mutually uplifting manner. We are stronger when we work together for the common good, when we hold ourselves to a standard that seeks to promote positive change, and when we encourage each other to do the same. We will truly see the impact on our city. Over the past 3 years, I've been so honored to have the opportunity to work alongside individuals who have embodied and embraced that spirit of collaboration and teamwork. We've welcomed 6 new department heads to the city since mid-2022, and each has brought with them new perspectives, new ideas, and a strong and positive dedication to our city. We've also welcomed new elected officials to the city, and we're grateful for their input and oversight. Change and growth are not always pain-free, but we have been so fortunate in Neenah to have successfully continued our strong tradition of attracting those who seek to do their best for the city. When I think back on my 11 years as an elected official for the city, which includes the 8 I served as an alderman, I have nothing but the sincerest admiration and respect for one particular individual. That is our Community Development Director, Chris Hayes. On March 4th, Director Hayes will retire after a 34-year career with the city of Neenah. As Chris shared with me, he interviewed for his original position with the city 2 days before his wedding in 1991 to his wife, Becky. Making Neenah their home, the couple raised their son, Colin, here and dedicated themselves to this city in so many significant ways throughout those years. Chris served under 5 different mayors and dozens of aldermen over his long and fruitful career. The city of Neenah in 1991 was so very different than the Neenah of today, and Chris Hayes has had a pivotal role in a great number of the very positive changes that have taken place for us as a growing and thriving community. In 1991, there were no 1, 2, or 3 Neenah Center buildings in the downtown, no Alta office building, no parking structure, no Plexus Global Headquarters or Design Center or manufacturing facility, and very few of the commercial buildings on the west side of the city. The entire project involving Glatfelter paper mill redevelopment in our downtown was undertaken with the leadership of Chris Hayes and was awarded the State of Wisconsin's Brownfield Redevelopment of the Year Award in 2012. More recently, the addition of the Plaza in downtown Neenah, listed among the top most charming ice rinks in the country, was also accomplished under his leadership. What has truly set Director Hayes apart, however, is his unwavering advocacy for and dedication to our great city. His commitment to not ever settle for adequate and always strive to get to exceptional has been an example to all of us who've had the privilege of working with him. His constantly positive attitude and infectious enthusiasm have helped to positively shape our city government, and our greater community. He has been a true team leader who will be very sorely missed. We are thankful that with council support, Chris will be staying on in a part-time role for the city as we begin the process of hiring a new director. His focus will be on addressing some of our larger ongoing projects and assisting us in the transition. We certainly wish him all the very best as he moves into this next stage of his career and involvement with the city. Thank you, Chris, for all you've done for the city of Neenah.
Thank you, Mayor. I have a runny nose all of a sudden. A couple things. Thank you. Must be the weather. I just came back from Texas.
Allergies.
Thank you for that, Mayor. I'd like to, if I could, with the fear of being the longest thing on the agenda, just a few words. First, I'd like to thank my family. Excuse me. My wife, Becky. My son, Colin. First, for enduring all the time that during my family vacations that they had to wait while I took pictures or investigated a street design or a trail or a park or a new house development, but mostly for the time that I've been away due to meetings. I did a little quick math during the meeting tonight, and I think conservatively, I think I have about 500 council meetings under my belt. That doesn't include any plan commission or any of the other unique meetings. So certainly plenty of time away from my family, and I appreciate that. Secondly, my staff, both current and former. I could not have asked or probably deserve such a knowledgeable and dedicated group of individuals that have worked very hard to try and make me look good. I don't know that they succeeded, but at least they made an effort. To all the elected officials that I've worked with, the mayor mentioned at least five mayors for sure, somewhere perhaps in the hundreds as it relates to aldermen. So with their leadership and their guidance, we've certainly have accomplished a lot together. Lastly, this community, which I view as being one of the more progressive communities, not only in the Fox Cities, but in the state. I've often said that the little cliche that the turtle doesn't move forward unless it sticks its neck out. This community has done that. They have stuck their neck out. They have taken risks, calculated risks. And I think in almost every case, those risks, the rewards have paid off well beyond the risks that they have taken. So that's a kudos to this city. Lastly, to the city itself for the opportunity to work here, for their support, and again, for the many great things that we've accomplished together. It has been a true honor and a privilege to serve such a great city. Thank you, Mayor. As much as I enjoyed the Pledge of Allegiance, the one thing I've always wanted to do was adjourn a meeting. And for those that don't know, except for David and Jerry, I always vote for adjournment, even though I don't get to vote. So. Thank you.
I think we could possibly grant him that ability for tonight. Alderman Lundrum.
Thank you, Mayor. I'm not going to cry because I have your cell phone number, so I can just call you anytime I want. Does anybody remember when Jennifer Sundstrom came to speak? She's the Government Affairs, I want to make sure I get her title right, Government Affairs Director for the Realtors Association of Northeast Wisconsin. Does anybody remember her speaking? Does anybody remember what she said about Director Hayes? And I can't remember it exactly, and please correct me if I'm wrong, but something along the line of Chris Hayes being the best community development director, certainly in the region, but probably in the entire state. And I've worked with her before, and she takes her job very, very seriously. And I respect her because I have worked with her before, and I know how much effort she puts into her work. That was an incredible compliment, but it was true, and you could tell it was true coming from her. So I just wanted to remind everyone what she said about you, Chris.
Thank you.
Thank you, Mayor.
Alderman Ellis.
Thank you. I just wanted to take an extra minute to go with what you said, Carrie. And for one that had the honor of serving with Chris through 3 decades. And I will tell you that not all the journey was easy for where we are today. And I spent many a good time in the past in Chris's office, and we would discuss what ifs. Chris was always one to say, what if? He would never reject an idea without giving the time and the dedication and the attention to it. And my late brother, Dick, who was the chief city planner for the city of Columbus, Georgia, very much a mirror to what Chris does here, said to me on multiple occasions, because he would check the website and he would come here and he would look at the growth of Neenah, and he says, who's running that? And I said, that's Chris Hayes. He says, never let him go. And I will tell you that he was right. And though you will be departing that chair, I, for one, have become a better council member to the city of Neenah from what I've learned from you, Chris. And I want to say thanks.
Thank you.
Now adjourn us.
All right. I'm going to turn it to Director Hayes to adjourn the meeting.
I would move for adjournment.
Is there a second?
Second.
All those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Thank you. We're adjourned.
The City of Neenah is pleased to provide video recordings of City Council meetings. Neenah residents can get information about City Council meetings, City Committee meetings, meeting agendas, and other documents from the city website, www.neenahgov.org. Neenah residents can express their opinions about city issues by contacting the mayor's office, contacting their city alderman, or completing the electronic feedback form on the city website. All public portions of the meetings are recorded in entirety and are not edited.